Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today I'm bringing you guys a really cool, kind of slightly sacky deck in Morphtronic, Telefon, FTK, otherwise known as like Telefon, Punk, Danger. So those are like the three engines that we are playing in this deck. It is a lot of fun to play, kind of goes with like the main themes of why I really like playing the original Morphtronics. Now in this deck, you're really just playing the one Telefon, or three copies of Telefon, and then not any of the other cards like Cellphon and stuff like that. But you basically just get to do a lot of really crazy link climbing, a little bit of synchro play, and every now and then a little bit of XZs as well. But we'll get there once we get to the extra deck. But basically, the main theme of this deck is to get one Telefon on the field, one in the graveyard, as well as Cannon Soldier somehow onto the field. And we have a ton of ways to facilitate that. Mainly in our extra deck, the way that goes is with your Curious, the Lightsworn Dominion. You use your Curious in order to send Cannon Soldier to the graveyard. Then once he's in the graveyard, you use Firewall Dragon to be able to add the milled Cannon Soldier back to your hand. And then you use Saryuja the Skull Dread to be able to special summon it from your hand. Or sometimes you just don't even use your normal summon and you're able to just use like 1-for-1 to get like out your Telefon or Crystron Halqifibrax and machine duplication and a bunch of stuff, and then you just normal out Cannon Soldier once you get it to your hand. You don't even go into Saryuja. It's just really crazy, but I think that's enough explanation. For those of you guys who are new to the deck, let's just get right into it. So obviously we're starting with the one copy of Cannon Soldier. He is just like the main foundation of the deck, the reason why this deck works, because then we have our three copies of Morphtronic Telefon. So with the Telefon, basically, Konami forgot to give him a hard once per turn, which eventually I feel like this card is just going to end up getting limited, and it'll be fine. It'll be like a really good card to just use in a Morphtronic deck, but there's no reason to ban this card, I don't think. It'll just be a really good card for them to eventually limit. I feel like they'll maybe hit that like on like the next list or whenever it just becomes a problem. But I feel like on this current next list, they're going to be hitting the Chaos Dragon. Why can't I think of the name? Oh no, he's in here somewhere. Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. They're definitely going to be hitting him. But for now, you have your three copies of Telefon, and then Telefon is able to summon himself back to the field, and then Cannon Soldier will just blow them up, burning your opponent for 500 damage at a time. And then, like, basically once you get that loop going, it is just game over for your opponent, unless they were just like holding on to a Nibiru or something. But generally, you're going into like Appaloosa or something to protect your field as well. Then for the Punk engine, we're going into our three copies of the Zeaman just to be able to add Foxy Tune to our hand, and then with the Foxy Tune, we are able to special summon out Deer Note from the deck, which is really cool. And then Deer Note will also then allow you to bring like Zeaman back for Crystron Halqifibrax plays, which is also really good. Then moving on into the Danger engine of things, we're playing three copies of Nessie. Nessie is just really good in here as a level 7. If you are able to get out the Nessie along with your Telefon, you're also able to go into the Chaotic Ruler, which is really cool, just because that goes for 8 stars. Then we have three copies of Danger Mothman. He's just really good because he helps you to draw through the deck. Either way, how his effect goes off, you're going to be able to draw. You're either going to summon him and draw one, or you're going to draw one and discard one if he gets discarded to the graveyard. Then we have our two copies of Chupacabra. Some people are playing him at 3. I think he's okay at 2 because you're generally going to end up seeing him. And you have ways to search for him, and then also like you just need the graveyard set up in the first place for him. So if you open with like him and a couple dangers, and then like if you end up discarding him and you have no dangers yet set up in your graveyard, then you're just kind of hurting a little bit. Then we're going on into the one copy of Tsuchinoko and one copy of the Jackalope. These cards are just awesome and really good. They don't need much explanation there. One copy of Danger Bigfoot, and then one copy of Danger Mothman. Mothman's not nearly as good as like some of the other ones, but he does have a little bit of potential to help break boards and stuff. So these are your two kind of board breaking cards if you are going second, which most of the time like your opponent is going to try to force you to go second if they win the die roll, or you're just going into games 2 or 3. So it's kind of nice to have these two to destroy a face-up card on the field and to be able to reduce all of your opponent's monster's attack. But either way, if they're summoned to the field, they're able to draw a card, which is good. Then getting on into our other Foolish Burial and like Curious targets, we have Fairy Tale Snow. We have one copy of Destrudo, one copy of Shadal Beast just to draw a card, one copy of Gokipole because Gokipole can search for your Danger Mothman, and then 1 copy of Blackwing Zephyros the Elite. All 5 of these cards right here are just super good for Curious, Foolish Burial, and your Chaotic Ruler. So it's just really good to have these in there, just a nice little engine. Not a lot of people are playing him, but I thought he was a good addition to the deck. You know, I sort of changed out a couple of like the usual cards that people are playing, or just changed some of the ratios, and I think that it's working out really, really well for me. Then we have 3 copies of our Emergency Teleport, just so we can get to that Zeaman. Zeaman is like your best, easiest way with the Punk engine to be able to get into your Chaotic Ruler and just get a free mill 5 and an extra card to hand. It is just so good. And then also he can get himself onto the field. That card has to be banned on this next list. Then we're getting on into 3 copies of Machine Duplication. 3 Machine Dupe is just like so necessary for the deck, because if you do end up drawing it, you're just done trying. Because like with this deck, you do still have to try, and you have to get a little bit lucky, especially with the dangers. You have to get lucky hits with the dangers, and you have to like really like make sure that you're trying to like get your engines going in the right direction. But with like Telefon and Machine Duplication, you're just done trying. You're already going to have your graveyard set up for them. All you need to do now is to be able to like go into Curious or Chaotic Ruler and somehow get your Cannon Soldier into the graveyard. So it's just too good to not play at 3. Then we have our 1 copy of Upstart Goblin, just to like minimize the deck even more. 1 copy of Allure of Darkness. I'm only playing this at 1. If I see it, it's awesome. But if I don't, I'm really not too upset, because like the dangers, they're going to help you to draw usually anyways, and Allure of Darkness just kind of is like it's kind of like a guaranteed draw. But still, I just kind of like working with the dangers as is. Then we have 1 copy of Into the Void. Usually this card does go off pretty well, but as long as it's in your opening hand, but if you draw it like a little bit later in the game, it's not quite as good. 1 copy of Pinpoint Landing, because this is going to work with any of your dangers to be able to special summon from hand. 1 copy of Foolish Burial. 1 copy of 1-for-1. 1 copy of Monster Reborn, because why not? And then 1 copy of Call by the Grave. Monster Reborn is just so good, because if you open like Monster Reborn, Foolish Burial, and then like Machine Duplication, like you just win right there, because all you have to do is get out a Telefon. And if you open up Telefon, also like these 3 cards plus Telefon, yeah, your opponent's just done. But anyways, that's going to do it for the 40 card main deck. Let's get on into the extra deck. So for the extra, we are playing 2 copies of Link Karibo. It's just really nice to be able to have 2 of him, so that if you need to do some like link climbing and stuff, and you need stuff with opposite names, generally that's when you're going into like Appaloosa, and your when you're trying to co-link with Firewall Dragon, and you're trying to go into like Nightmare Phoenix and stuff, that usually works. Then 1 copy of Relinquished Anima, just for another dark name, because with Curious you have to have 3 monsters with the same attribute but different types. So we're going for a Spellcaster, a Cybers, and then later we're going to be going on in for like a Fiend with Unicorn. So then we have our 1 copy of Crystron Halka Fibrax. He can pull out Telefon or Zeaman from the deck, depending on what you need at the time and what level, maybe, if you're trying to go for the Zeaman. Then we have our 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix. Like I said, it's kind of in here for board breaking as well, if you're trying to crack back on your turn 1, if your opponent makes you go second. But also just in here as another way to easily co-link into Firewall Dragon. I also had a match where I was playing up against a friend at Locals this weekend, where basically he sort of stunted my turn, and I was only able to go into Phoenix co-linked with a Appaloosa, and then like he was at least able to protect Appaloosa so they couldn't run it over by battle. So it does have a lot of really good applications. Then 1 copy of Dark, just for also board breaking and just setting up to be able to go into your Nightmare Unicorn. So the ways that you can go into Curious, the best ways actually is just with the Danger engine, because the dangers are going to count on their own. That's why I think the dangers are the best package to play with this, because like you don't need to do all of like the complicated link climbing that like some of the other decks do. Like people are playing like adventure token stuff and with this deck and all that, and you can't generally go into like darks and stuff with that. So overall, what you do is you basically just have to get out like Link Karibo and Relinquished Anima, and then you have your Danger Nessie, and then this right here goes into your Curious. Or generally what you have to do is you have all of these guys, then you go into Dark, and then you link with like Dark and Link Haribo to go into Nightmare Unicorn, and then also along with that, then you have to use up your second copy of Link Haribo. That way you have a Cybers, a Fiend, and a Spellcaster with your Anima. But basically, it's just a lot better once you can get into those dangers and have like a couple dangers or Chaotic Ruler, whatever on the field. It just works really, really well. Like I said, Curious is going to be able to send your Cannon Soldier directly to the graveyard, as well as 3 additional cards. That's why we're playing all those other Foolish Burial targets. Then we have our Firewall Dragon. Whatever it's co-linked to, you're generally going to be putting him underneath Appaloosa, and then maybe he's going to be co-linked with Nightmare Phoenix or something. Bounce 1 or 2 cards back to your hand, and then you have Saryuja to be able to special summon your Cannon Soldier from the hand. Then we also have our Appaloosa, which I've mentioned several times so far, just to be able to set up negates so your opponent can't hit you with hand traps and stuff. And then also you're going to be able to use that to help set up for your co-link for your Firewall Dragon. Just has a lot of good versatility for the deck. 1 copy of Borrelsword Dragon in case you're going second and you have to crack through boards. 1 copy of our Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. Just so good for the deck. So bannable. Konami, please ban that card. 1 copy of Baronne de Fleur. You can go into this fairly easily, but not too often. But still, it's really nice for if your opponent does sort of stunt your combos and you end on like Danger Nessie and Zay Amon, then you can just synchro away for Baron de Fleur. And then you have your 1 copy of Dugaris the Timeless. We don't really care about our battle phase usually. And if you just gotta like draw 2 to be able to get into some good cards, he's really good as well. So like there's just a whole bunch of different applications for Dugaris to be able to like use him for. So you can generally go into him with like 2 Mothman or like Mothman and Blackwing. You also have Fairy Tale Snow, so just a lot of good level 4s. But anyways, guys, that's gonna basically do it for this deck profile. It might be a little bit hard to sort of go with the concept of the deck, how it all works, but I will be doing a combo tutorial on how the deck works, hopefully just getting uploaded later today. So if you guys are interested in this deck, definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and keep an eye out for that combo tutorial that will be coming very, very shortly. Otherwise, this video would just get too long. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and we will see you guys for the combo video. Peace.